Ladies and gentlemen, this is a public service announcement. For regular viewers and listeners of AWI Pod, please do not be offended, as this program contains good wrestling.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. This is lucky episode number 13 of A Cup of UK Heritage. I am your host, Brent Piles, and as you know, I do not do these things by my lonesome. I am here with my pal at GWrestleNut, Glenn Abbott. Glenn, how you doing?
I'm sad.
Uh-oh.
We've only got two more matches after these two. We've only got two more matches after these two, and there's no more Heritage Cup. Happy.
Well, I mean, technically, I guess there is two. They've had two in NXT, right?
Yeah, but that's what I was going to say. Happy that Noam Dar is fighting for his version of the Heritage Cup against Tyler Bate next Tuesday.
Yeah, next Tuesday night. Two NXT UK stalwarts and, two UK Heritage Cup division stalwarts to do moving their things over to America. That'll be fun to see, even if it is a fake cup.
Yeah.
That's actually made me decide to actually watch NXT next week, Glenn.
He actually has got a point that he never lost the cup.
Of course not.
It was Oro Mensah decided he was going to take it on himself to represent him.
I will never understand why they changed Oliver Carter's name to Oro Mensah. Like, I don't understand what was wrong with Oliver Carter.
And he suddenly got the accent without the egg whisk.
Oh, they should have Commander Aziz join that group too, then. Right?
Yeah, they should. Yeah. Perfect.
They really should. They really should. But yes, that is true. This episode will be our second to last one. Next week will be our very last A Cup of UK Heritage episode, which it does make me sad too. Like we talked about last week, it's kind of like pulled you back into the NXT UK, but now we're kind of going away again. But we hope NXT Europe starts up again one day, Glenn.
I can't see this being our last foray into NXT UK though. There's so much else went on there that we could look at.
Absolutely not, Glenn. If we weren't already in the works with doing another Psycho Sid show, I would have thought that maybe we should just review all the old episodes like we were gonna do in NXT. I mean, on Piece of Business when we were doing it, but we're gonna do the Sid show and said maybe someday, Glenn, we'll venture on to watching some more NXT UK, which I would love to do.
Yeah, well, Sid's not going to be around forever, is it? So
that's true. That's true. He is not going to be around forever. But yeah. So but I guess before we get into this, I want to let everybody know that you're listening to this on Friday morning or Friday afternoon. You can check us out tonight. That is tonight on YouTube where you're watching this show, or on Twitter or Twitch. And we are going to be doing a SummerSlam preview show, giving you our predictions. And we will be watching four of the worst, maybe not the worst, but four of the most entertaining for our speed SummerSlam matches of all time. Now, Glenn, do you want to know the four matches? I will let you know right now. You ready to hear them?
I know two of them. So yeah, what are they all then?
All right. The first match we will watch. These are two tag teams that we really, really love to watch on this show. The Natural Disasters will take on the Bushwhackers, and that came from the 1991 Survivor Series. We, of course, will watch The Undertaker versus Undertaker from 1994. Yeah. From 1998, we will watch the Oddities take on Kai and Tai. That should be a lot of fun. The Oddities also have the Insane Clown Posse with them. So,
oh right, yeah, of course.
And then we will finish it off from 1999 with The Right to Censor taking on Too Cool. So we'll see some censoring and some dancing all at the same time, and a big Samoan man's buttocks.
No, I would actually say that this is not the worst. This is the quirkiest little collection of SummerSlam matches.
That's probably a better way to put it than worst. I think that's a good way to put it. Yeah, absolutely. But that is for it's going to be at 10 o'clock Eastern time, right after SmackDown. It's 3 o'clock in the morning Glenn's time if you're awake at that time, and where Glenn lives, which I doubt you are. You can tune in live too, but I doubt you'll be up. So,
I'm not
Glenn,
mad
let's
enough.
do it. Yeah, no, definitely not. Let's get into these two matches that we've got this week, Glenn. And the first one, we're gonna see a lot of this match coming up.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna watch it 2 more times after this one.
Is it
It's
two?
Noam Dar.
Oh,
It's
yes.
not Mark. Yeah, it's not Joe Coffey this week. It's Mark Coffey.
Mark Coffey. There was a story going to be told, but unfortunately, with the plug being pulled on NXT UK, they had to rush things through a bit. That's why you get two match or 3 matches with Mark Coffey, one on top of the other.
Yeah, they're all within a couple of months of each other. Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
and then one comes like for like 3 weeks after the other one. Yeah, which when you see these Heritage Cup matches, especially when you got the Heritage Cup on the line, you don't typically see them defended all that often. It's usually like 6 weeks in between defenses.
Yeah.
Which that's kind of how it should be. I think NXT UK always did a good job of like alternating what champions were going to defend when. So you got a fair amount of title matches on the show, which that's probably why it made it so much fun to watch.
That's
But
right.
anyway, let's get into it. The first round, these two literally didn't even touch each other for the first 30 seconds.
No, it was Noam Dar doing what Noam Dar does, just tormenting him, running away, backing off, doing all that gestures and
all the things that Noam Dar likes to do. Yeah. Then he's able to takes Mark Coffey down, and then he kind of like messes up his hair, which I thought was pretty funny.
yeah.
Because for a guy as small as Noam Dar to do that to a guy as big as Mark Coffey is just really funny to me.
Yeah, they finally actually get some wrestling in. Then Dar, being Noam Dar as he is, they get pushed up against the ropes. The referee calls for a rope break, and as they break, calls Noam Dar has to give Mark Coffey a slap.
Yeah, and then he kind of like starts taunting him after that too. He gets the flask out. He takes a drink from the flask. He walks over, spits some of it in Joe Coffey's face, is on the outside. And so Dar really just trying to get underneath the skin of Mark in the first round, pretty much, because that's kind of where the round ends, is after he spits the water into Joe's face.
That is the first time we actually know that it is water in that flask.
Yeah, because it looked like water, and you would figure there would have been a different reaction from Joe Coffey if he had got like vodka spit.
Well, no self-respecting Scotsman are going to spit alcohol anywhere.
That's true. That's called alcohol abuse, right?
Yeah, that's right.
That's alcohol abuse. Absolutely. That's what we call it in Nebraska too, Glenn. If you spill your beer, that's alcohol abuse. What are you doing?
Yeah.
All right. Well, the second round, Dar was looking light years ahead of Mark Coffey in this match. He was just like out overclassing him in every step, within the first minute of the first round, until finally Mark just hauls off and just fucking decks him right in the face.
Yeah. Gives up on the wrestling because he's just totally being out wrestled. They just hits him.
Yeah, he just said "fuck this" and pow right in the face. But yeah, then he's kind of like laying the fists into him, and then while Dar's on the ground, the Dar like rolls him up into a small package and gets a quick 3 count.
That was absolutely clever because Mark was wailing on him, and they were just laid there and called him on. So as Mark bent down, he just rolled him up and pinned.
It's really quick too, yeah. Like Mark went to throw a punch, and Dar kind of he kind of moved his head a little bit, and he just ripped him up. He just rolled him up real quick, and quick 1, 2, 3, and he gets the real early lead here in the second round.
And you get the feeling that at the start of the third round, there's a little bit of payback here. I think you give him a little receipt there for being cheeky at the end of the second round, because there was a forearm that Mark hit Noam with that lifted him out of his boots, literally.
Yeah, maybe Dar was a little aggressive with that slap, maybe in the first round, and Joe just trying to take advantage here. Mark. Sorry, I'm getting mixed up. Mark had control of much of this round until Shaw Samuels pulled Noam Dar out of the ring, but then Mark hit a nice baseball slide, which is pretty impressive for a guy his size to do a nice little baseball slide. So he takes Shaw out, and then he hits this was another impressive move for a guy his size. He did like a standing enziguri, kicked Dar right in the head. Really impressive.
Spinning heel kick. Standing spinning heel kick. It was really good.
And like, if you see Mark now on NXT, he's a little lighter now than he used to be. Like, he was a bigger guy back then. You know what I mean? Like, he's around, almost 300 pounds doing a baseball slide. Pretty fucking impressive. And probably not, fucking side kicks and shit.
Probably not getting to spend so much time in bars and more in the gym now.
Well, he does live in Florida, Glenn. So
exactly.
Maybe he's been drinking light beer. I think your guys' beer over there is a little heavier than it is here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely, especially in Scotland.
I was gonna say, especially from a Scottish guy, right?
Yeah.
So we head into the fourth round, and we are all tied up at 1. And Dar's doing his whole feigning in the corner like he's pretending that he's hurt, and Shaw's even pleading with the referee to give him some more time. And even Nigel McGuinness is on commentary pleading to give him another minute. But Dar comes charging straight out of the corner, right to start it off. But it doesn't matter because Mark sidesteps. Wait a minute. Or did Mark? No, Mark didn't sidestep him. He hit him with an elbow, didn't he?
Because Mark was still had his back to him. He was talking to Joe.
That's what it was. Yep.
He kicked him in the back.
That's what it was. Yeah. And then Dar starts with the real kicks. He just starts laying the kicks into to Mark on the chest, to the back, to the head, to the neck. He was precision kicks by Noam Dar.
Yeah. And then to counter that, we get another one of those big forearm uppercuts from Mark.
Yeah.
Again, I actually rolled Noam over. He hits him out.
Yeah, it did look like it hurt. And then they, like, for the 45 seconds left, they start trading shots. They're going back and forth. Mark tries to do that spinning heel kick again, but he misses. And then when he does, Dar is able to lock in the knee bar. Dar is able to lock in the knee bar on Mark Coffey, and Kofi's able to hold on until the round ends. And then, of course, Dar's going to hold on to the knee bar a little bit after the bell, which is going to bring Joe Kofi into the ring to pull him off, which brings Saw Samuels into the ring, and his bet slips are flying everywhere. And
oh, dear. It's a shame. It's a shame they couldn't get Shah over there with him rather than Oliver Carter.
Yeah, it's too bad. Yeah. Although I do like that group, and I enjoyed that tag team match they had at the beginning.
Oh, yeah, that was the tag team match.
Definitely. And I'm glad that they found something for Lash Legend, because I feel like she was going somewhere, and then they fucking pulled her way back. And maybe she was injured, but I don't recall ever hearing about her being injured, so I don't think she was.
No.
But yeah, so we head into the 5th round. Again, trading punches and kicks to start the round. Dar hits a huge back elbow for a 2 count. And then we got some real interesting stuff. So this is a real good round, the 5th round.
Oh yeah. They start by pummeling each other.
Mm-hmm.
And they're both sort of on the ground. And then Dar, I can't remember what he does to Mark, but Mark avoids it. And
he's trying to go for the Nova Roller.
Oh, that's right, yeah, the Nova Roller. But he counters it and gets him into a gator lock. Which pulling his head off.
Yeah, gator lock's not something I'm real familiar with. Like, when he locked him in that, I was like, wow, that's really cool, but I don't think I've ever seen that before. So, and to be called the gator lock, that sounds like that should have been Skinner's finishing move, right? A gator lock? Why not?
Yeah.
It really should have.
It's a very European thing.
Okay. Well, we are watching NXT UK.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was really innovative because he goes to the Nova Roller and he counters it and then right into this gator lock. And it looks like Dar may tap out, but he's able to get to the ropes. But he tries to use the ropes, but then Joe pulls him all the way back into the middle. I'm sorry, Mark. I keep doing that. Yeah. Mark pulls him all the way back into the middle ring to lock the submission in. But then we got a little bit of interference, didn't we?
Yeah, just a little bit.
A whole lot of interference.
Yeah. If the referee had any gonads, he would have thrown Charles Samuels and Joe Kofi out of there. Because they both end up in the ring.
Yeah.
And the two guys that are fighting outside the ring, watching those two in the ring. It was, and the referee's just standing there like an idiot.
Yeah, I was a bit taken back by it too, because it looks like Dar was going to tap. Then Samuels jumps up on the apron. Then him and Joe start battling on the outside. Then they run inside to the ring. They bump into Mark. Mark tries to get Joe under control, and then when he does that, that gives enough time for Noam Dar to recover. And when Mark turns around, Dar hits him with the Nova Roller and gives him the 1-2-3, and he retains the Heritage Cup. So Noam Dar wins with some help from Shaw Samuels and some help from Joe Coffey, honestly.
Again, as we say every week with these, go and watch them because our descriptions of them can't do the justice.
Absolutely not, no. And especially this next match that we're going to talk about, Glenn. We could talk about this one for 45 minutes, and we would never, ever give this one the justice that it deserves.
No. I was still aching from last Saturday with Ilya.
Oh, yeah.
And then this comes along.
This one made like Ilya versus Carmelo Hayes look like a fucking nice Sunday stroll in the park.
Yeah, they were tapping. They were just tapping each other.
Yeah, exactly. It's A-Kid taking on Charlie Dempsey, and this isn't a number one contenders match. This isn't a Heritage Cup championship match. This is just a grudge match. A-Kid has been, dealing with D Familia for weeks, and he finally wants to settle this thing with Charlie Dempsey the only way A-Kid knows how in a Heritage Cup rules match.
This is what it was. The story of this came about that it was the Heritage Cup rules. Is because basically A-Kid said to Charlie Dempsey, you reckon you're this great technical wrestler. You put your money where your mouth is. Leave the guys out the back. Come and fight me one-on-one in a Heritage Rules match.
And that's what the guys did here. And it's a shame that we didn't get more NXT UK of a run and more of a Heritage Cup runs, because while we said A-Kid, guys like A-Kid and Noam Dar are built for matches like this, Charlie Dempsey is another guy who was built for matches like this. I mean, he's William Regal's son, for crying out loud. But like the mat wrestling, submission wrestling, and the physicality that he brings to every single match, he would have been epically perfect to be a Heritage Cup champion.
There is nothing to say that somewhere along the line, although I'm not saying that Axiom has anything to do with A-Kid whatsoever. I wouldn't say that. Not at all. But there may be at some point, we do have a Heritage Cup match between Charlie Dempsey and Axiom.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. Or I could get the dream of Charlie Dempsey versus Noam Dar in a Heritage Cup match. That'd be great.
Yeah.
That would make me watch it.
That one would be, I would, with the way things are going, I would not be surprised if at some point they are going to unmask Axiom. And I think it could be either you leave NXT or I lose my mask type of match.
And I mean, A-Kid's a good-looking young man. I don't know why they put a fucking mask on him in the first place.
Not that we're saying that Axiom has got anything to do with A-Kid at the moment.
Oh yeah, my bad. I'm sorry. I didn't want to break the third wall. We don't know. We don't know if A-Kid's Axiom. We don't know who Axiom is. It's like we don't know who Tiger Teray is, and we'll never figure out who Mr. America was.
No.
So yeah, A-Kid versus Charlie Dempsey here. First round, and literally from the get-go, we are just getting outstanding mat wrestling for both these guys. Just great mat wrestling, great transitions, everything about it. So good.
Yeah, perfect. They're doing all the technical amateur wrestling moves and everything. It was just a masterclass in technical wrestling.
Yeah, that's everything that the first round was. I mean, A-Kid almost got a pin to end the round, but the round ends as the referee gets to the counter two. But really, just an amazing display of technical wrestling in that first round.
I love that point where A-Kid's about half the size of Charlie Dempsey, and yet he was trying to stretch him.
Yeah.
There's optimism for you.
I mean, he thinks he can. He's like the little train that could,
That's right.
pace is a little bit quicker in the second round, but not for very long because we get right back into some really good submission and mat wrestling again. Dempsey looks to be really working on the neck of A-Kid in this round.
Yeah. Not only working on it, but also when he did it, his shoulder blocks him, and he makes sure the shoulder hit his neck, and the sort of the joint between the neck and the shoulder, rather than technically superb. All done to hurt your opponent as much as possible.
Yeah, but as much physical pain as you can inflict on your opponent as possible, and that's what Charlie Dempsey's all about. Yeah, so then they start doing like bridge ups, and they're flipping over. They got their hands locked. You gotta watch this shit because I can't explain it to you.
No, that's it. We try and take notes on it, but it's really impossible. By the time you've looked down to write something, or look, it's gone on 3 moves.
Yeah, my remote's smoking, Glenn, because I'm pausing, unpausing, pausing, unpausing. Got carpal tunnel. Dempsey does land a really nice backbreaker, big backbreaker to A-Kid, but it's just as the round ends, so he's not able to get a pinning attempt in. So still no falls as we head to the third round. A-Kid, at the start of the third round, A-Kid's gonna lock in like a heel hook on Dempsey, but Dempsey so they hook each other's legs, and they both got each other in a submission move at the same time.
Yeah. Why they're doing that? They're both hitting each other in the face.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and then once they get that settled, then they start slapping each other in the face. And Charlie Dempsey, when he slaps, he looks like he's going for the ear every time. It looks like he's going right for the ear, and if you're gonna slap somebody, the ear's the place to go.
They finally get back up on their feet, and then Charlie Dempsey turns A-Kid inside out with a back elbow. Now you see it with clothesline occasionally, but this back elbow, it looked like it legitimately knocked him off his feet.
Yeah, it looked like it hurt, and it probably did.
Yeah.
A-Kid then tried for a roll up on Charlie Dempsey, but Charlie Dempsey completely reversed it, and he did a beautiful German suplex, and he bridged with it for a near fall. It was a fucking one of the better German suplexes that I've ever seen. It was picture perfect.
It was picture perfect. His father would have been proud.
Absolutely. Father would have been proud of how he ended this too, because after A-Kid kicked out of that, he took A-Kid down, and he just starts grinding his elbow right into his rib cage, just grinding it in, and then he locked in. I don't even know what you call that. I call it ouch, the submission hold he put him in.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, the ouch hold.
The motherfucker owl hold, and A-Kid don't waste no time. Dempsey didn't even get it locked all the way in, and A-Kid started tapping.
Yeah, that's it. Because of the commentary, there's why did he tap like that? And of course, Andy Shepherd is going because he didn't want to be broken in half. That's why.
Yeah. It's gonna be hard to compete in the next few rounds if you're broken in half.
Yeah.
And then we get into the fifth round. A-Kid starts landing some stiff kicks to start the round, but Dempsey's able to catch one of them and hits him with a vicious dragon leg whip.
You've missed a round. Kick. You've missed a round. We're into the fourth now. The Dempsey submission was at the end of the third.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm reading because I was looking at the wrong. I have round 4, but I was looking at round 5. Anyway, okay. All right, Glenn, you go ahead with round 4.
You get kicks from A-Kid, stiff kicks, a dragon screw from Dempsey, and then a lot of stiff hitting and bastering each other. A-Kid manages to suplex Charlie Dempsey.
They call that a half and half suplex, I think, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's a half and half suplex. It's the only way you're going to get a bigger man off your feet, by grabbing the leg as well as using the arms. Dempsey kicked out some chops from A-Kid that I'd never seen him chop like it before. He must have been taking lessons from Ilya Dragunov, I think.
Yeah. He probably went, What other person in this locker room really knows how to hurt people? That guy. I'm gonna go ask him.
And then he puts Charlie into a sleeper, and then transfers that into like a guillotine chokehold. But Charlie Dempsey suplexes his way out of it. So just picks. It's hard to explain because he just sort of picked A-Kid up and threw him over his head to get him off.
Yeah, it's a very innovative way to get out of a submission hold. Never really saw that too many times.
No. Then there's bit of two throw-in, several escapes. A-Kid, another suplex, followed by a kick to the side of the head, and he manages to super kick to the side of the head, and that gets the pin to level it up at 1-all.
Yep. So now we are tied up at 1 as we head into the 5th round. A-Kid comes out in the second round. He hit I don't know if he hit a kick or if he missed it. I think he missed a kick when he first came out of the round, right? And then he eventually ends up on the top rope, and he hit like a big crossbody block from the top rope for a 2 count, and he lands some stiff kicks to the chest. A-Kid locks in an arm bar, but Dempsey just picks him up and slams him down. Once again, Dempsey's like, I'm not staying in these fucking holds. I'll just slam your little ass. No problem.
He goes best and goes in for a sleeper again, which, considering that they always say with the smaller guys, you should jab and run.
Right.
He's going for submissions the whole time. Because it seems strange that it hasn't dawned on him at any point that Charlie Dempsey just keeps throwing him off. He just keeps
that fighting spirit, Glenn. It's that Spanish fighting spirit, Glenn. He can't stop doing it. He can't help himself.
Again, we get another big kick to the back of the head of Charlie Dempsey and an attempted pinfall. But Charlie is not only not dazed by the kick to the head, but he bridges out of the pin attempt.
Yeah, just to show you.
Yeah, just to show you, yeah. That's the best you can do.
Right. Yeah, eventually A-Kid hits a reverse springboard DDT, but he's again not able to get a pin before the round ends. And so we're gonna head to a 6th and final round, all tied up at 1. And I was thinking, are we gonna get another draw?
Yes, yeah. It would have been fair if they had, actually.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been upset.
But it's Charlie Dempsey.
Yeah.
It's William Regal's son. He's the villain junior. Of course there's going to be shenanigans.
There were absolutely shenanigans. So Dar hits a flying super kick. He hits a dragon suplex. He's really got Dempsey looking like he's reeling in this round. And then Dempsey in the corner kind of grabs his towel. He tosses it into the ring a little bit. The referee sees, and the referee's kind of confused about why there's a towel in the ring.
He says to the second you throw the towel in. No.
Yeah. Yeah, he's asking, did the towel get thrown in? He says no. And then if you just look behind the referee, Charlie Dempsey's got some brass knuckles in his hand. And he tosses him over to A-Kid Eddie Guerrero style. The referee turns around, sees A-Kid with the knucks. The A-Kid's, I don't know. And the referee's like, I don't know what happened. And then Dempsey
in the confusion,
hard right hand, and then a cradle suplex, I think it was.
Yeah, and rolls him up.
Yeah,
for the 3 count. And Charlie Dempsey wins.
And Charlie Dempsey is the winner. My favorite part was the end. He's standing tall, and he's got that. Charlie Dempsey standing tall in the ring, and he's got that European stance. I just thought that was really, really fucking cool. He looked badass as fuck.
Right, now we know that Charlie Dempsey's won that. Without trying to give too many spoilers away, the reason that Mark Coffey, the rematch with Noam Dar, is that they were planning on turning Gallus face and having them against De Familia, having the whole thing against De Familia, and having Mark Coffey against Charlie Dempsey down the line for the Heritage Cup.
Ah.
But time ran out on that sort of stuff. So
Right, and since they shut it down, they had to
yeah,
make a move, and I'm sure they had like a plan, like you said. That I mean, you've told me the mayor privately about what the plan that was for Noam Dar, and that's why they had to give the cut back to him once they figured out that they were going to shut it down.
that's right.
Not to give you too many spoilers, because next week it'll be two of the same match. It'll be Noam Dar versus Mark Coffey, and then it'll be the rematch of Noam Dar versus Mark Coffey, which I think is on the second to last episode of NXT UK. So
It is.
we'll play some sad music then, Glenn. We'll play some sad music.
And I think most people listen to us know who came out the champion at the end of it, so we're not actually getting any spoilers away here.
Yeah. If you don't know, you should know.
Yeah.
But yeah, Glenn, what do you think about that last match? You think that's going to fall into your top 3 or top 5 or?
Definitely top 5. Will probably be in the top 3.
I think you're right. So before we watched them all back, I was kind of thinking that was my favorite one, but I still don't think I like that one more than I like the Nathan Frazier A-Kid one. I still think the Nathan Frazier A-Kid one is my favorite one, but this one might be number 2.
Yeah.
But after next week's last episode, we will give you kind of a top 3 or a top 5 of our favorite ones. We're not going to give you like a whole ranking of all of them because that's going to take too fucking long. But Glenn, who do we need to plug? What do we need to do before we get out of here?
And that definitely wouldn't be fair because, there's not been the thing about these Heritage Cup matches, and we, Jeremy and I said it when we were watching them live, and also you when you started watching them with us, is there wasn't a bad one, and they were all different in their own way. So it's hard to say, well, that one's better than that one, or that one. Especially, like, you might have one or two, your top 1 or 2 that you really enjoy, but all the others are on a par. They're sort of 1As, the 2 top ones that are both ones.
Right, exactly. You'd have to have a whole bunch of them tied at 6.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, check out Unbooking the Territory with Rob and Danny. The Gator Golf is now all over with. They dropped their last episode of that this week. Unbooking the Tankatory, that's coming to an end as well, but they've got other things in the pipeline, which sounds a bit interesting. Bang Bang with Andy, DDT with DC and Doc, and for the sci-fi fans out there, it's the Doctor Who podcast with Danny and Sarah.
The Doctor Who podcast with Danny and Sarah. Anyway, make sure you check out Sports Wire Radio. Give our buddy Thomas Bryce a follow on all the social media platforms, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Threads. It's Thomas Bryce 2020 on Instagram, and Threads it's Thomas Bryce 2017 on Twitter. I'm still going to keep calling it Twitter. I don't give a fuck what else everybody else is calling it. Make sure you give the third member of our podcast team, the mayor of Canton, a follow. He usually does the meal with the mayor every Wednesday. I'm not sure anymore. If you want to see a man angry, very angry, make sure you watch the latest episode because good God.
Yes.
Me and Glenn are just cracking up at the thought of it.
He was sort of Ilya Dragunov angry, but a bird.
His face is getting red.
Yeah, I was expecting to have the red eyes as well.
Man, I've never seen that sort of fire from the mayor. I was like, holy shit.
And then
especially at the end when he's like, your rating is 2 fucks and a cocksuck. Oh, I lost it. I couldn't hold it together.
I was going to say, definitely, he should have the parental guidance sticker on that episode.
Definitely should.
The language is a bit right.
So if you haven't seen that, make sure you look at that because it's fucking hilarious. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, make sure you join us tonight. You can join us tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern time, and we're gonna talk about SummerSlam and watch some SummerSlam matches. Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. Now the only thing left to do is for Glenn to say goodbye.
Goodbye.